Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reisch, and this is Crime Talk, the most fact-driven, unbiased, true crime channel. Let's get straight to the docket. First, did a juror speaking publicly about the juror deliberations in the Derek Chauvin matter just create an appellate issue for a new trial? Second, another knee in the neck and on the back case where someone died. Here we go again. Third, officers finally placed on administrative leave for roughing up a 73-year-old woman with dementia. Well, it was the laughing about it on video that probably got them in trouble. Fourth, government files a motion in the Lori Vallow Chad Daybell matter regarding the DNA consumptive testing just in time for the hearing this afternoon. And finally, our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reisch, and this is Crime Talk. Thanks for watching. Please hit that subscribe button as well as that little bell so that you receive notifications of when we go live or put up new content. Immediately followed by our live Patreon member show. Good feedback. I think everyone enjoyed it. First on the docket, did a juror speaking publicly about the juror deliberations in the Derek Chauvin matter create an issue on appeal, perhaps for a new trial? That's right. Someone may have just done that. So Brandon Mitchell, he gave an interview on live television the other day, and he was formerly known as juror number 52 in the case of former police officer Derek Chauvin. Now, Mitchell is a 31-year-old basketball coach at North Community High School in Minneapolis, where he said that the 11 jurors there didn't watch the news during the trial or deliberations, so they were not aware of any of the racial climate or protests going on outside. Well, that's certainly good for the prosecution. However, what Mr. Mitchell said a little later in the interview is probably giving the district attorney, or the attorney general in this particular case, a little pause, but giving Mr. Nelson, attorney for Mr. Chauvin, a little bit of hope that they may have a new trial. When asked about how the jury deliberations went, he said the deliberations were relatively straightforward. There were a few hiccups with terminology and understanding exactly what the instructions were. He said there wasn't a whole lot of banter back and forth, but he did say that one juror that was kind of, he wouldn't say slowing us down, but was being delicate with the process more so, was just kind of hung up on a few words within the instructions and just wanted to make sure they got everything right. Well, that's what jurors are supposed to do. They are supposed to get hung up on the words. Those words have specific meaning. Now, Mr. Mitchell went on and publicly extended his condolences to the Floyd family and let them know that his name is going to live on. That's very nice. What Mr. Mitchell did in making his public comments has created an issue. It wasn't giving his condolences to the family. It wasn't saying, hey, a couple of the jurors, or at least one juror, wanted to really read the instructions where we've kind of glossing over everything. No, what he said was, it was probably to the detriment that he, referring to Mr. Chauvin, didn't take the stand because people were curious on what his thoughts were throughout the entire incident. Well, we've talked about this many times, ladies and gentlemen. The defendant never has to testify. And in fact, the judge, in this case, as well as many, many others, in fact, all of them, states that the defendant is never compelled to testify and that you cannot use their silence, i.e. not testifying, against them in any way. In fact, you cannot consider it in any way. But Mr. Mitchell's statement basically clearly states they considered it. Now, had he not gone on TV, this may never have been an issue. And now it is going to be. I'm sure Mr. Mitchell meant well, but he just opened up a can of worms, and I'm sure the Attorney General in Minnesota right now is probably doing a little bit of research, or having someone on the staff do a little bit of research to see if these public comments give rise to a motion for a new trial. Next on the docket, another case of the police putting their knee on somebody's neck and their back, and guess what? They died. And this death involves the death of a 26-year-old man by the name of Mario Gonzalez. His family has been blaming the police for using excessive force and escalating what should have been a minor encounter with an unarmed man. Now, the San Francisco Bay Area City said that it's committed to full transparency and accountability in the aftermath of Mr. Gonzalez's death. They state that the death is under investigation and they will conduct an independent probe. The officer involved, Officer James Fisher, has been with the Alameda Police Department since 2010, while the other officer, Cameron Leahy and Eric McKinley, joined the force in 2018. It is alleged that Gonzalez stopped breathing following a scuffle with police on the morning of April 19th at a park, where officers had confronted him after receiving a 911 call that said he appeared to be disoriented or drunk. A police statement said that Gonzalez had a medical emergency after officers tried to handcuff him. The nearly hour-long video of the two officers' body cams released late Tuesday show police talking to a seemingly dazed Gonzalez who struggles to answer questions. The third officer arrives late. When Gonzalez doesn't produce any identification, the officers are seen on video trying to force his hands behind his back to handcuff him, but he resists and they take him to the ground. They repeatedly ask him for his full name and date of birth. Officers state, "We're going to take care of you." "Okay, we're going to take care of you," one of the officers notes. As the scuffle goes on, Gonzalez, who weighs about 250 pounds, is seen grunting and shouting as he lies face down on wood chips while the officers restrain him. One of the officers puts an elbow in his neck and a knee on his shoulder. "He's lifting my whole body weight up," an officer says at one point. One officer also appears to put a knee on his back and leaves it there for about 4 minutes as Gonzalez gasps for air, saying, "I didn't do nothing, okay?" The video also shows officers rolling Gonzalez over and performing CPR. The officers are also seen giving at least 2 doses of Narcan, which is given to counteract opioid overdoses. Gonzalez was later pronounced dead at the hospital. We're going to have to wait and see. We will put this video up on our Patreon page if you'd like to watch the whole video. Take a look at the video. Let me know what you think. Obviously, we want the police to take care of people, but it seems like a lot of people may be on opioids when they're interacting with these police and they're having issues. Wouldn't it be nice to have just one case where the police just went up to somebody who was doing absolutely nothing wrong and they died and it was on video? Instead, we always seem to get somebody with so many issues. Well, maybe that's just because the people with all the issues are the ones that are having interaction with the police. I'm not sure what to do with this particular situation. We'll have to wait and see what takes place. All right, next on the docket. Yesterday, we brought you the story of Karen Garner. She was a 73-year-old woman who suffered from dementia. Last year in 2020, she was at a Walmart. She took some items and didn't pay for them. The clerks at Walmart basically took the items back from her and she walked away. Several police officers from the Loveland Police Department made contact with Ms. Garner and, well, they had to restrain her and throw her to the ground. Her family has filed a civil suit on her behalf, alleging that, well, the officers roughed her up pretty good, in fact, dislocated her shoulder. And then there was a video of the police officers basically bragging and saying, kind of wait for it, here comes the pop when the shoulder is dislocated. Well, all 4 of those officers are now on administrative leave. Isn't it funny how everything is just done in the normal course of business unless and until it gets out to the media, which is why the public should have complete access to all of these body cam videos. Just saying. And it's not until somebody files suit that these actions get initiated and then the videos get turned over. It would instill much more trust and confidence in the police if anyone could go look and see what was going on in any particular day. And it still makes you wonder. I'm not saying these cops were necessarily bad guys, but why did Loveland Police Department do absolutely nothing until the media gets involved? Let's take a quick recess. Please go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up for a background subscription service. You'll be happy you did. If there's anyone out there you were ever curious about what was in their background, now is the time to do it. If you're going to get involved with somebody, now is the time to do it. When you go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, you put in the name, literally millions of public records are searched, and a report is generated. And it's going to give you a report. If they have multiple social media accounts, you're going to find it. If they have multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, it's going to be found. And more importantly, you're going to get information regarding criminal history. Hopefully the person you're searching has none whatsoever. But if it's there, it's going to be found. You're going to get everything you'd want to know, whether you're going into business or whether you're going into a personal relationship. You're going to be able to find out the information you want to know. So go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up today. You'll be happy you did. Next on the docket, the government files a response in the Lori Vallow Chad Daybell matter regarding the preservation of evidence. We've told you the other day that Mr. Pryor filed a motion regarding destruction of evidence, specifically that there was going to be some DNA testing done and that the testing would be what they refer to as consumptive testing, i.e. the sample would be used, destroyed, gone, eliminated after the testing. Therefore, there wouldn't be anything for the defense to test independently. Mr. Means filed a motion to join, which was rather disjointed and discombobulated, but I think the court will get the point. The prosecution filed a response, and they must have been watching Crime Talk because it says exactly what I said would take place. The defense was notified that there were some items that were seized when the police went to Chad Daybell's property, specifically some tools, and they were going to do some DNA testing on those. The DNA was identified as being consumptive testing. The defense was put on notice. They filed a motion. The defense wants the evidence not to be tested, but the reality of it is the prosecution has a right to test it. And the defense was also told you can have your expert look at the evidence beforehand and that you can be there when the testing is done at an accredited laboratory. The district attorney's position is what I said was going to happen on Monday. Now we're going to get to find out what happens later this afternoon in the hearing. But that's what's going to take place because that's the way it's done. Don't forget to tune in later today as well, as there will be a hearing in the Lori Vallow Chad Daybell matter regarding this very issue, and maybe they could use it at the same time to set a trial date and to set some deadlines. Wouldn't that be a good use of the court's time? I think it would be. Now, next on the docket, our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Please meet this North Dakota man. He had previously been arrested for possession of methamphetamines, and then he had a little bit of a problem, and he had his probation revoked, but guess what? He got arrested again. And hey, he has drugs, that can happen, but take a look at this t-shirt. It wasn't me with Pinocchio on there and his nose growing. Obviously, we all know that Pinocchio's nose grew when he wasn't being completely honest. Needless to say, Mr. Torres Maldonado, you are our dumb criminal contestant of the day. I like the shirt, just not appropriate where you were going, i.e. your booking photo. But congratulations, you are a dumb criminal contestant of the day. And if you are the dumb criminal contestant winner of the week, you could win a cool Crime Talk mug. And guess what? You can take it anywhere. You don't have to be embarrassed by your mug selection like you could be your shirt if you're going to booking. In fact, if you were being booked, You could have your Crime Talk mug and hold it up and say, I heart Scott Reisch, and you would know to keep your mouth shut. That's all we have for today. Thanks for watching. Please join us next time on Crime Talk. Have a wonderful day.